Back here on Jiggy Jag TV, also jiggyjagtv.com. rosslong.info. I'm, of course, Jigman Freud, and we are here in the... it's odd to even think I'm able to do this, but the McPherson High School Theater. This is how old I am. They were building this theater when I graduated. I'm going to get the heck out of the way and let the people with talent talk. Jump in there, gentlemen. Introduce yourselves. First of all...
I'm Kyle Hopkins, Director of Bands here at McPherson High School.
Jeff Conner from Boston Brass. We're here in McPherson. We have a concert tonight at the Opera House at 7:30. And this morning we had the great privilege of working with the band here at McPherson High School. We did a clinic. We played for the students, and then we broke up into individual clinics and worked with them, and then came back and talked to them, doing some question and answers, and then we had a great time. We've heard lots about the band program here, and hopefully everybody in this community really takes advantage of all the music, not only that's happening at the Opera House, but also that's happening here at the school. Kyle, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, just what your kids are doing.
Yeah, we have a great band program here. In fact, we had about 100 kids in band, a full jazz band that's still a part of the day. A lot of jazz bands have gone before school. We still have it second hour of the day. But the thing about McPherson is we're kind of in a hole, and I mean that in a bad way. You got Wichita over here, you got Sline up here, and what's great about the Opera House is we're getting out of that, And John's bringing in some great acts, and I'm benefiting from that because, when the Boston Brass was coming to town, when I heard that, I'm kind of a groupie. It's like, what can I do to get them in my school?
Yeah.
And Jeff actually set it up through Jupiter Instruments. They came and put on this clinic, and I tried to explain to my kids, who don't get out as much as I'd like, musically, that is. This is like LeBron James coming and talking to our basketball team. That's what this is. And you could see from the kids' reaction, they got it.
Practice with Mickey Mantle.
They got it.
Same thing.
So, here we are, a little 5A McPherson, Kansas, being able to bring in acts like the Boston Brass, not only at the Opera House, but work with our kids. This is like Kansas City type stuff, you know? This is big time, and it's just really a privilege and honor for us.
Well, and John keeps bringing in all sorts of acts that are just tremendous. Did you get a chance to meet the hippie harp chick, Deborah?
She came out here too.
She's great, and it's like, you're getting all these acts through here, and it's just fabulous. Now, talk a little bit about how important it is to, when you have an act like this, to take full advantage of it and ask questions, because they did a little clinic at the end where they fired off questions and things like that.
Well, again, it's kind of like if we brought LeBron James. Those kids would be asking basketball questions. They get to experience that. But, I used to be in language acquisition, and we used to use the word critical mass. And how do you get that critical mass to be able to speak in the language? You got to, in music, you got to be a part of it, And I tell my kids, if they want to play great jazz, they got to listen to Miles Davis all the time. And if they want, you gotta be a part of it. You got to get that critical mass that makes you just do it, And to be able to hang out and listen to people like the Boston Brass, and then get their CDs, and of course listen to them all the time, like what I do, There's a plug. But that's that.
Did you get an autograph yet in the picture?
Yeah, I think they've signed most of my CDs. But being a part of that is what creates that critical mass to just be a part of music, as opposed to what a lot of my students do. They play a few scales every day, So how do you get from playing a B-flat concert scale to being a part of something that's a part of your life? And that's what I think these guys help us do, to take these students, and whether they play professionally, that's not it. Most of my students will play professionally, but music will be a part of their lives forever. That's the key.
Absolutely. These instruments, they can last a lifetime. These kids playing, and there's not a lot of things you can do where you start young and continue through your whole lifetime. Whether they do go into music or just going to college. I think having the opportunity to go and play in pep bands, marching bands, the experiences that you will have with that is just amazing, and the friendships that you will make. Just for someone going into college as a freshman, if they play in the band, they're already part of a community before their first day of classes. So it's really vital. The other great thing that we saw, a lot of kids were interested in going into music. So we talked about music as a business. Music is a business.
I enjoyed that conversation, because there's a lot of these guys out here. We talk to the hip-hop guys and people all the time, and they're just like, I got to put out a mixtape. Or, you know, the rock guys are like, well, I'm going to put out a 3-song demo. And it's like, it's a business. You got to learn the business.
It is a business. And, you know, we tell kids that, you know, whether you're going into education or into performance, you have to be thinking like a business person. Yeah. And, you know, the great thing about the schools, those conservatories and universities now is they're offering music industry courses. They're offering entrepreneur classes. And, you know, the example I used today with the students was, you know, ask Mr. Hopkins, you know, the easiest part of his day or the most enjoyable part of his day is, you know, conducting the band. It's the other 13, 15 hours a day that he's running a corporation. Yeah. You know, and it is you know, this band program is a corporation. Any high school band director that has a successful program is a CEO. And, you know, everything that they do from, you know, with scheduling, fundraising, working with parents, administration, students, I mean, you run the gambit. And it's, you know, it is that, you know, the great, just thinking like a CEO and having the business, thinking like a business person and, you know, how to make your program successful.
Now, you got to practice in this theater last evening. Mm-hmm. What was that like? Because this place is fabulous.
It was great.
Supposedly it seats 900. I don't know where you're going to get all these people in here, but it's an amazing theater.
Very fortunate, you know, and thanks to Kyle, he let us, you know, once we arranged the clinic, usually what we do before a tour starts, we will show up and, you know, try and do a rehearsal. I mean, we wanted, you know, do a rehearsal before a tour because we all live in different parts of the United States. So Kyle was generous enough to, you know, offer up his facilities. So it was great.
And once again, if LeBron James came to McPherson and said, "Hey, can I practice in your gym?" Are we going to say no? I mean, no. You know,
you have to sign in at the office.
I was
first.
ready to.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you guys sign in this morning?
They slipped in the back of the
Now, talk about how the Boston Brass has just lasted all this time and been able to make, you know, a lot of memories just around the country and around the world.
The exciting thing is this year we're celebrating our 25th anniversary.
Yeah.
And the
you're
group
a
started.
member.
I am. I'm the only original member left. We started back in '86 when I was a student at Boston University. And we started out just as a freelance group, played around the Boston area. Yeah. And then, you know, over time, it became a full-time job. Now we're on the road about 160 days out of the year. We travel all over the world. Back in January, we were in Asia for 3 weeks. We do a lot of really cool collaborations with other groups. When we were over in Singapore in January, we collaborated with a really well-known string quartet over there, the Tang String Quartet. We did a program, all music based on Romeo and Juliet. Wow. We do a program with the Yamani Winds, who is a woodwind quintet out of New York City. And they kind of are doing what Canadian brass did for 30 years ago, making it possible for quintets or brass ensembles like ours to make a living. Okay. So that's what Amani Winds is doing, and we're good friends with them, and we've been doing the Miles Davis, Gil Evans, Sketches of Spain, and Porgy and Bess suites. Wow. So that's really exciting. We have a really cool commission that we had done this year for the anniversary by a really well-known band composer. And actually Kyle's band just played a piece by him last semester, was it?
Yeah, at our Christmas concert.
His name is Brian Ballmages, and he wrote us a really cool piece. We're actually going to be playing that tonight at the Opera House. So it's you know, the journey has been amazing, you know, in terms of traveling all over the world, all over the United States. You know, every place is different. You wake up every day and do something different, do something that you're passionate about, do something that you love is really cool.
Well, as we wrap up, give us a outline of some of the more talented people you guys have worked with, and some of the people in the band, the Boston Brass, right now are some talented
absolutely.
people.
I mean, just unbelievable. Our lead trumpet, Jose Sabaja, he lives in Miami, and he does a lot of studio work there. Before Boston Brass, he played with Dallas Brass, another professional group. Also, he played 8 years with Ricky Martin. So he was Ricky Martin's trumpet player during the
So when he left
heyday.
the group, that's when Ricky Martin's career kind of...
Exactly.
It was karma.
Chris lived, our horn player, Chris Castellanos, lives in Las Vegas. And
Yeah.
when he's not on the road with Boston Brass, he plays in the orchestra for Phantom of the Opera at the Venetian Hotel.
Wow.
So he does that. Andrew lives in Washington, D.C., in the Washington, D.C. area. He teaches at George Mason University in Gettysburg College.
Wow.
And then Lance LeDuc lives in Pittsburgh, our trombone euphonium player, and he teaches at Duquesne and Carnegie Mellon. He has private students there. And then some of the guys do arranging. Both Lance, Jose, and Chris are now writing for the band, which is really, which is great.
That's a cool thing.
Then also our former horn player, J.D. Shaw, did a lot of the group's writing, and we're still doing some of his music. So we really have a great stable of arrangers, including another good friend of ours, Sam Palafian, the tuba player,
Wow.
who was the original tuba player with Empire Brass. So,
Nice.
yeah, so we're real fortunate to have great arrangers, writing for the band, and we really enjoy the process of the program, and talking about, thinking about what we can do, with our program, all the different kinds of music we can do.
Well, thanks for doing this.
Our pleasure.
Thank you for bringing them to McPherson and via
Well, I got to
John.
give
and
John the
everything.
credit for that. I just got
John
him
is
here.
amazing.
Absolutely.
But as we wrap up, what was this whole thing like for you? This last couple of days, meeting these guys and hanging around.
One of the highlights of my career so far. I'm telling you what. Like I said, how often do you get to meet LeBron James?
Exactly.
This is my LeBron James. And my kids got to be a part of it. That's
Well,
the
yeah,
great kids.
and that's
Yeah.
cool. It's like an educational experience, and that's
Oh.
what you were hoping.
Yeah.
Well, thanks to everybody involved, and you're watching Jiggy Jag TV.